All right, so purchased a $900,000 home, making more than $150,000 of salary annually and sleeping 3 times a week in his minivan. Well, this was a comment from a subscriber. I will have the screenshot so we can all read it together. However, this is not only about real estate. It is about mental health, it is about families, and it is about the survival in today's world. So let's get right into it. All right, so let us start by reading his comment that he commented the other day on my channel. So it says $600,000 question mark, right? Mine was $898,000. Bro, bought it with a 30-year amortization to get my family back together. So we'll get right into that. 2 kids, I'm sacrificing for 1.5 years later. She wants separation, and round 2. I sleep 3 nights out of the week in my 2024 Honda Odyssey, making more than $150,000 per year. Make it make sense for me. All right, so I analyzed this. I don't know this person, but it seemed like that for a long time, right? Like even in that, like, you know, high FOMO driven market, right? Like a lot of families were separating, right? That anxiety of not be able to purchase a home or not be able to move forward, because it kind of feels everybody is moving forward and you're kind of stuck, right? So nobody wants to feel left out or stuck, right? So I'm assuming what happened, right? So like from other experiences, right, that I know, people were splitting or leaving each other because they were saying, look, man, you're not worthy, whether it's a husband or a wife providing for the family, right? You're not worthy because we cannot even buy a house anymore. What kind of life is this? And yada, 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 right? Like we will never be able to afford a house in our lifetime and whatever, right? So people split for that reason, believe it or not, right? So sometimes this world or a situation is becoming more geared towards a financial or status driven society, right? So this is what happens, right? So I believe that this man in particular in this example managed somehow to get funds together to his employment, making $150,000 and finally purchasing that house at $900,000. But what happened in the meantime, right? So again, like we know that affordability levels went ultra sky high for a few years, and obviously, like, people want to live, people want to enjoy life, people don't want to sacrifice, people don't want to sacrifice for anything, right? But in this case, I'm assuming that this, you know, couple, they wanted to make that purchase and that sacrifice. However, a sacrifice doesn't mean it's a, you know, 1 week of sacrifice. It might mean 10 or 20 or 30 years of sacrifice in a market or in a situation in order to pull it through for your kids or families or whatever it is, right? So some people are not ready for that. Believe me, some people are definitely not ready for that, right? Whether you want to believe it or not, but they all say, look, we're all good. I don't care. I just want it and we'll figure it out, right? But when push comes to shove and things start to buckle up, right? People really don't want to sacrifice anything, right? So I'll give you an example of a gentleman working. He was a pipe fitter, construction guy, right? Waking up in the morning at 4 a.m., trying to avoid all the Toronto traffic, getting to work, fitting all these pipes, right? Coming home late at night because he had to work past 5-6 p.m. in order, right? Like, why is he gonna be stuck in traffic? Why not work, right? So, you know, when things are moving accordingly, people look through, like, they say, it's okay, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out, right? But then when things start to move harder, all of a sudden he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't get married to a guy that stinks like a sewer. His nails are dark, under his fingernails are dark, or whatever it is, right? Like you smell like construction, or whatever the case is, right? Because that being unsatisfied, I guess, right? And the other story goes for a lady that I know. She sacrificed 2-3 decades of education, schooling, making it work, right, for herself and the future family and whatnot. And now the husband is like getting off the hook, right? Like, you're never at home, what kind of mother are you, like you only travel the country and you visit other countries, and she's like, look, like that's what I do. That's my job. Like, what do you want me to do? That's how I earn my salary and I make good money, right? So how are we gonna do it? You cannot have the cake and eat it too at the same time, right? So I guess there's a lot of disconnect when things shift. All right, so let's get into some more things. So basically, a high income doesn't shield you from the pressure of inflating housing costs, right? So psychological toll, breaking down relationships, sleepless nights, growing resentment. It's not just a housing problem. It's a human crisis, right? Like, people cannot take that mentally. So I don't know. I mean, like, at this point, like, it is hard for so many people. It is hard to make it work. But however, I remember that FOMO times, right? Like, I remember that. And I'll just give you an analogy quickly. So it's like, imagine there's a bus, right? And the bus is picking up passengers along the way, right? And let's say the bus is full, right? So the demand is high and the bus is full, right? So what is the first thing that happens when the bus arrives full capacity, packed, and there is a passenger at a station? He'll say, come on, bus driver, only one more, and then we can go. So let's say that bus driver lets you in and you get squeezed in that bus, and that bus keeps driving to the next station, right? And the bus driver sees more people at the other station. So what happens? That same person that got in last in that bus will raise his voice or her voice and will say, come on, bus driver, we're squeezed in here. Just keep driving. Just keep driving. They can wait for another bus, right? So also that was happening a lot in the market, right? Like, people did not care. As long as they got it, as long as they could get into something, it didn't matter where it was. No advices were taken, to be honest with you, because some of these, buyers or people, they had so much fear that FOMO was growing dramatically that they did not process that information, right? Really, like, right? Like, if they bought a house, like, an hour or two from Toronto, like, who cares, right? At the end of the day, right? Like, they thought, who cares? Like, it's okay, we'll figure it out, until you don't figure it out, right? So I don't know. I mean, this is by no means advice or a video that will create solutions, but it is wise to kind of decipher the information, to sit down, to calm yourself down, maybe talking and communicating to a partner, even though by his claim, he's earning more than $150,000, and that is not good enough for that $900,000 purchase, which is actually sad, right? And I'm wondering, why is he why is he living in his minivan, right? So a couple of answers that come to my mind. One, it could be that he's working far away from the location of the home, and he cannot commute every day, so that's why he's stuck in that minivan, or they're just divorcing or in the process of a divorce, and this is kind of how they're dealing with the whole story. But more and more of these cases are popping up everywhere. So I mean, I try doing my best to deliver something that I'm personally not happy about, right? Like, you know what I mean? But we have to share like even these kinds of stories, so people can hear that it's not only roses out there. It's not fun. Like, people are struggling with even incomes that are, you know, over 6 figures. So I hope you liked this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.